nerve damage and snapped ligament.
Let me stay this way. Jesus, there's freedom in your name. You break every chain, oh Lord. 'Cause you are above every name, Jesus.
All right, good morning to the Warriors Way in UCAN Studios. I'm your host, Isaac, and I am here with
Denise, Alick.
Denise, Alick. Say hello, Denise.
Hi.
All right, and she is from Samadhi Yoga, and we're going to get to her in a second. If this is your first time to Spiritual Warfare Unit, if you check out our website, spiritualwarfareunit.com, we have 8 or 10 of our community outreach people. If you know someone that's struggling, needs food or coffee or water or baby food or anything that they're struggling with, you tell them go to spiritualwarfareunit.com, click on struggling. They go down there, make a phone call, and you can be the person that helps them. So help me, help you, help them. All right. Good morning, and how are we doing, Denise?
Fantastic.
All right, so Fantastic. You're a place called Samadhi Yoga Center, and your website is samadhiyogacenter.com, right?
Correct.
All right, let me spell that real quick. So if you guys are watching, it's SAMADHI, samadhiyogacenter.com, if you want to check out our website while we're talking. Okay, and so real quick, what's that name from? Samadhi.
Well, it comes from the Ashtanga practice, which is just a totally different style of practice, which is actually what I first started. That's what I learned.
All right, what makes it totally different from other yoga?
It's a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
It's always done in a hot, heated room.
Ugh.
So there's like 96 postures. You always do them in a specific sequence.
Uh-huh.
Always done in the same order.
In a heated room.
In a heated room, a hot room. Yes.
So a heavy-set person like myself.
No, you'd be great. You would just sweat a lot.
Yeah, I do that now. That's what's being chubby does.
It's hot. It's hot outside. It's hot in our room. There's no
so what's
difference.
the temperature of the room?
It could be 100.
Holy
like it's
smokes.
going to be today.
Yeah, no, right. Okay, so I just want to get a brief summary out there, and she does her yoga thing, and we're going to get into that later. We'll finish with that last, but I kind of want to know about you. So, where are you from? Where were you born at? What area?
I was born. I was born in Flint.
Oh, okay.
Raised in Clio. Like I had a home. Grew up in Clio.
All right.
Went to Clio schools my whole life. Graduated there.
Yeah, two parents, single parent.
Yeah, both parents.
Yeah.
Both parents, 2 brothers, one older, one younger.
So where are you in the pecking order?
I was right in the middle.
Oh, so you're the person.
The favorite.
Well, being the only girl, probably, right?
Right.
So were you like the person that solved the problems between them?
No,
you're the one that caused the problems between them.
They would say that.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
And being the only girl, probably got most of the attention.
It was hard, but I like doing like the boy stuff, like.
Oh, you were a tomboy.
Yeah, I always liked working out, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Being outside.
All right. Did you do hunting and stuff, or just?
No, I'm not into killing things.
All right. Well, being in the Clio area, that's kind of rural.
Yes.
Area. All right. So you graduate high school. That was when?
77.
77. Okay. And then anything in your past from like elementary school or middle school or high school that was like impacting on who you are as a person? Like that you went through? Were you like a cool kid? Were you a nerd? Were you just...
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was a cool kid at all. Like I just had like a handful of people that I was friends with, and I just.
Did you do like sports or you do band or anything?
I did band.
Okay.
Did track.
Okay.
A little bit of track. Wasn't really good at it per se. Like you would think of like a track person.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Something to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was physical,
Yeah,
and I
right.
always liked anything can be physical. I would like to do that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, she told me ahead of time she's a note person, so as she takes notes, we'll get that down. I'm more of an off the cuff person.
Yeah, well,
so.
things will come to my brain.
Yeah.
I want to say, I'll say that.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. You do not have to make it make sense, believe me. All right, so that's cool. So you just kind of meander, fit in, had your group of people, and
Yeah.
All right, so did you go to college anywhere?
I did not.
All right, so right after high school, this is 77,
Yeah.
so 77, 78. What happened?
I started waiting tables.
Really? Bar or restaurant?
Well, I did a lot. I did a lot of both. So
Okay.
I started out just at a restaurant, and I just loved being with people.
Okay.
And I love serving people. And I could work a day shift at a restaurant and then work across the street at, it was like a country club bar.
Okay.
And I could bartend, and
So you're a worker.
I loved it. Yeah. When Kmart used to be was at Pearson Road.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did 3 jobs. I'd do 2 waitress jobs, and I'd go work at Kmart if I had off time.
Really? So did
I
you
loved it.
move out of your house right out?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
I got an apartment with a friend, and I just went to work.
Really? 3 jobs. Wow.
Yeah, I loved it.
All right, what's the dating scene at this time?
At one of the restaurants, that's where I met my first husband, but no longer husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how old when you
Had
guys
2
met?
kids. Oh, probably 20.
Okay, so it's right in
21.
this time period. So you're
Yeah.
working, you're going out.
Yep.
All right. And so you met your husband at 20, so that's 2 years. Anything in that 2-year time period that kind of happened that was
I just worked.
just work?
I'm just.
I've always been a 2-job person myself,
Yeah.
so I feel you. All right. So then you meet your husband. Your first husband, and where did you meet him at?
He was at the restaurant that I worked at.
What did he do?
He owned it and ran the place, and
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay. So he owned it and ran a place, and you guys dated for how long?
yeah. I don't know, maybe a year or so. Got married, had a couple kids,
Okay. And how long was that process?
like 11 years,
So from 20 to 31.
probably that.
So from 78 to 89.
Yep,
All right. So
maybe around that. Yeah, 90.
so did you just stay home? Or did
no,
you
I
continue
still
to
worked.
work?
I continued to work.
I was going to say, because I can't see you staying
Yeah.
home. That'd probably drive you insane.
Yeah, no, yeah, I continued to work.
Okay. So you had boys, girls?
I had a son. My first child was John,
Mm-hmm.
and then my second, Nicole, was my daughter.
All right. So boy and a girl. Hey.
Yeah.
All right. 1st 2 shots.
Yeah.
All right. So in this time period, you're married. Now, when did the divorce happen?
Probably around 89, 90.
89, 90?
Yeah.
All right. So how old are the kids at this time?
12 maybe. The oldest was probably 12, 13 during that time.
And what's the year
11,
difference
12.
between them?
6. There's a 6-year difference between my kids.
So it was 12 and 6, basically.
Yeah.
Older brother and younger sister. All right. So you move out. Are you still in the Clio area at this point?
Nope, I'm in Flushing. I went from Clio to Flushing, and I've been in Flushing since
Yeah.
84.
Which is a really nice,
Same house.
sweet little town. Beautiful place.
Love it.
Do they still have that movie downtown or whatever?
I think
during
they
the
do.
summertime?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they do.
Like the whole town dead ends into this area, and you guys, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like very happy days.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
very laid back, the bowling and the
parks.
yeah,
and walk
very
downtown.
very slow life. Very cool.
Right.
All right, so anything in that 10-year time that you're dealing with that your personality was set in a certain way, or situations happened during that time that you find relevant, to what we're doing now? Or is that just
Yeah,
part
I
of your-
think that was just part of my growth and
That was
trying
just-
to find out who I was and what did I really want to do with my life.
So you're starting to ask the big questions.
Yeah.
Why am I here, and what is my
Exactly.
purpose, and what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is 1990 then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're on your own. What did you do for work at that point?
I still waited tables, and I waited tables until probably 2001, because that started to lead up to when I opened up my yoga studio. So I'll back up.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say
I'll
you skipped a
back up.
bunch.
Yeah. So I went to this retreat in Watervliet. And it's
When was this?
probably the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, so
I mean,
yoga was something you got
like
into when you
90s,
were you
middle.
just got married then. So
this when I got married. So when I got divorced, then I'm working at the Holiday Inn, and
Yeah.
I'm a bartender, and then this guy comes in who is now my husband.
Yeah.
And he wants to go out, and it's like, no, I don't want to go out with
Right.
anybody.
You're right.
And he's like, yeah, let's just go out afterwards. It's like, no, I really don't want to. Like,
Yeah.
Finally, I did, but I told him the only way I'd go out with you is if we could go play racquetball, and it was at the YWCA downtown.
So doing
Flake.
something physical.
Yeah, because I
All right.
wanted to beat him at something. It's just, that's all. I just wanted to. I wanted to win.
So you're very competitive.
Yes,
All right, outstanding.
but I'll tell everybody in yoga it's not competitive. So
But it is.
100%, 100% with myself.
Yeah.
With
See, you know, my
myself,
biggest
not
fear
other
of
people.
yoga, I got to be honest, just to interrupt you just
Yeah.
for a second, is like I'm going to end up getting gassy. And then there's going to be all these people around that like know how to do it correctly. And I'm not going to be able to touch my toe. And I know I can't because I've seen me do it.
Right.
And then everyone's going to laugh you right out of the joint, right?
Right.
Right.
It
and
happens.
it's hot.
And it's hot.
Yeah. And I
You mean-
just don't want anything to do with that part.
But it happens all the time. In
Oh,
there.
all the time.
A lot.
Like I could get a lot of information
I-
out of people. Listen, I will release this video of you flatulating during yoga.
I tell you, it happens all the time. So if you've ever been in a yoga class, so like at the very end, like you lay what we call a shavasana, right? So you lay there for like 5 minutes. It happens more often than not. Like sometimes people fall asleep and they'll start snoring. You just kind of
Go fall asleep in the class.
at the end, like in shavasana, sometimes, and people
All right,
snore a little bit.
We're gonna
But
get into that
if
part.
we're going to
'cause-
get back to the flatulence part, like it just happens.
Yeah, no,
And people will just start laughing uncontrollably, and I have to be a professional and hold it together.
Yeah, I couldn't do your job because I would just be laughing hilariously, and I'd be like, "Somebody had tuna today, apparently." All right, so you meet your husband.
Yeah.
Your who will be your second husband?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
1990.
92 we get married. My
So
second husband.
you were your first date is I'm gonna whoop this dude at racket. Did you win?
100% I did. I've beat him at everything since we've been married.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So-
he doesn't want to do anything with me.
I don't think he would
Because
want to
he
because you
says
make him feel bad.
He says I have to make it a competition.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think I do, but like one time, like he said, let's just go for a bike ride, right?
Yeah.
So we're going for a bike ride. Well, then I realized like he's way behind me. Mm-hmm. And he's panting. It's like, just call 911. Like, and I'm laughing, but he's in his slippers. Like, you can't, I can't
You
ride-
told him to call 911.
No, he was saying just call 911. But I looked at him, I was like, you're in your slippers. Who goes for a bike ride in your slippers? So,
I
yeah.
really like this guy already.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't ride bikes with me
Yeah,
anymore
because
either.
you just
He
make him
doesn't
feel
go.
terrible about
Yeah.
himself. This poor fella.
Yeah.
All he's trying to do is hang out with his wife
Right.
and have quality time.
Yeah.
And you're just, I beat you again, then I beat
Exactly.
you again.
Right.
Let's go get some ice cream. And then
No,
he
he'll say, "Go, let's go get ice."
Yeah,
cream."
yeah.
Like, well,
What was the point of doing all the
Exactly.
exercise?
Yeah, don't.
And the whole point of the exercise, so you can eat the ice cream, but you're not getting
But
that part because
you can't exercise. You can't go into a yoga class and work out for an hour and think you can go eat a whole apple pie.
I wouldn't ever want to eat a whole apple.
Well, you can't do that. No.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
On that note, this is a perfect spot to take a break. If you've not gone to samadhiyogacenter.com, check that out on the break. If you know someone who's struggling, hit spiritualwarfareunit.com. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the show. We'll be right back. Taking a quick break from our podcast, I wanted to let you know about our life application program that we have for churches and nonprofits in the area that are trying to find programming that they can use in case the corona shuts you down and you're not able to get in. You go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. You click on our episodes and you can check out our programs for as little as $29.99 a month to make sure that we're still getting the word out to those people that need it. Now, back to the program. I'm already like I told you these things just take
It'll
care
come
of
out.
themselves.
It'll
you
come
know?
out. But I gotta.
All right, welcome back to the Warriors Warrior this week. It's Denise, and during the break, I'm already in defense of her husband in the deep competition that she has with herself, which is great. And so she does yoga at samadhiyogacenter.com. It's hot yoga, and so we're getting her story into why this happened. All right, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So. All right, so you're going out with this guy you're dating, and does he do yoga?
No.
Okay, so how did
he just got back from the war from Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a military guy.
Military, yeah.
Outstanding. All right. I'm already still feeling bad for this guy. I already know I'm going to like this guy.
Yeah.
All right. So you're dating, and then how did the yoga thing like come into existence? Like, how did that happen?
Okay, so then I go to this retreat, and then in the morning they had they said everybody had to go do yoga. I'd never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Never had experienced it. 8:00 in the morning, we had to go to this building. It was outside. It was pretty large. One whole side of the building had a big screen on it, so you could actually like look out into the woods, and you could see deer out there. And it was actually called Grace in the Woods. And we all did yoga. I couldn't tell you what we did. I just knew, like, wow, like I really like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a lot. So I knew, like, when I go back, I've got to find a place to go practice. So
Okay.
I found a place in Grand Blanc, started practicing. That's where the Ashtanga practice came in, because that's all I knew. Like, I didn't start out with something that was really easy, sit down, fold forward, stretch. It was a hot class. So that's how I started.
So the first one you did was hot. So that was just your.
Well, that wasn't, the one in Grace in the Woods wasn't hot.
Oh, okay.
I remember it wasn't anything like this, but that's what this other place offered.
Okay.
So that's what I started to learn. And then
You just fell in love with it then?
absolutely loved it.
All right. So
I liked the
what
physical.
is so great about it? Like, what is the thing that this is why you do yoga?
For me, when I
Yeah.
first started, it was physical.
Okay, so it's still just the body and
Yep.
control of the body, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you learn to have self-control.
All right. So
It's
self control and taking care of your body and your
Right.
in your life. All right. So you said this was the early 90s. This is
Well, this was, probably in the 90s, somewhere in the 90s, maybe the middle 90s. And then I ended up finding another teacher that I just really gravitated towards.
now. What would be the difference between the teachers? Just so, like, because I don't know anything about this.
Right. Well, it's just their style and how they teach the class.
How they present?
Yes.
Present it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you moved to a different teacher and
In
then-
Detroit, in the Detroit area.
So
in
you went from
Birmingham,
Grand Blanc. Man, so
I
that's like an
drive.
hour.
all the way.
Wow.
A good hour
So you
and
went from
15.
driving 20 minutes an hour just because the approach was that much better? Wow. Okay. And how did you hear about this person or whatever?
This, his name was Johnny, and he came to a workshop in Grand Blanc. He was part of a workshop that he came.
Okay.
And he did some hands-on adjustments. I remember I was in a headstand, and he adjusted me in it. And I just thought, wow, nobody's ever really adjusted me. Like, wow, now my practice can change.
Wow.
And so I found out where he was at. Did practice down there at his studio for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Did his teacher training program in 2000.
Uh-huh.
Completed that. He wanted me to come down and teach for him.
Now,
at
how
his
long did
studio.
that take, that teacher?
That was 3 months.
Okay.
3 months of driving down there. But I
Okay.
still drive down there. You know, he doesn't have that studio right there anymore, but I
Yeah,
do have
yeah.
another studio in Birmingham at Blue that I like to go practice at
Yeah.
very frequently.
All right. So you're going to Detroit and you're hanging out with this guru. Is that the right word? I don't know.
I don't know.
Teacher. Let's
Yeah,
say teacher. All
yeah,
right.
he's just-
So
he
he's
was
a
he was a
teacher
good teacher.
of hot yoga.
Yeah.
And so it's 2001, and you decide what? You
Well,
do the
between-
classes.
Yeah, between like 97 and when I actually opened up my own studio.
Yeah.
I started teaching actually out of my home.
Yeah.
And then I had people say, why don't you teach at my
Yeah, yeah.
building? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I've got space in here. And then I was paying rent in there,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is fine. And so you teach out there for a little bit. And it's like, nah, it's just not private. Like, it's not my own space. So then
Yeah.
I would teach out of, people would come in, wow, can you teach me in your home? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have people come to my home. My kids would go into their bedroom. They'd do their homework for like an hour and a half. I'd push furniture out of the way. And I'd have people come in. I would just teach yoga. And then
Like how many people?
I'd put like 6 or 7 people. I have
Man, that's packed.
it's a good sized living room. But
Still.
I could put people in there. Yeah, throw some mats
So you
down.
had hold on. So you had hot yoga in your
Well,
living room?
you can only get your living room so
I was gonna,
hot.
and now you won't want that
Right.
smell because now I'm thinking of the gas.
Yeah,
and all that.
no.
I wouldn't want that either.
No. No.
Okay. Whew. All right.
Yeah.
No, nothing personal. Just getting it in the mind frame. All right.
Yeah.
So, and you're like how old at this time? Like 30s.
Yeah.
All right. And so, what was the decision? Like, what was the man? I can do this. Like, was it just a progression of steps that made a logical step to the next step?
To open up my own
Yeah.
studio?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. So I was teaching in this one building,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a retail building, but there was a room that we could actually put quite a few people in, maybe like 20 people and stuff. But she would have like, you could still buy the clothing in there and books and jewelry, but kind of room for us to come in. But
Yeah.
they had a cat.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to cats, but the litter box was in the room that everybody practiced. And after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm not digging this anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
because
we
when you're
can't
heating the room up.
we can't have a cat in a litter box and practice down dog all at the same time. I got to go. So I,
Yeah, and so you're a dog person.
well, I'm a horse person because I have a horse.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I like cats too. It's just, I wasn't fond of having the litter box.
Just because you like cats doesn't mean you like cat feces.
No, not while you're practicing
Yeah, downward dog.
downward facing dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so
Gotta go.
so that is the decision. It was a cat litter box, and you're like, that's it.
Exactly. Yes. So I did. I opened up a little bitty space downtown Flushing,
Mm-hmm.
literally maxed out at 13 mats.
Wow.
I couldn't put any more people in there. And so I was there for a year. And
How many classes were you doing? Like a day?
at that time, probably 2 a day.
2 a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Okay.
was just getting started. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
I didn't know how to run a business. I
Okay.
had not a clue.
And you just decided to do this because
I
it was
just wanted
simpler
to
and there was no cat.
Yeah, it was clean, fresh space. And I just knew I wanted to teach something that I loved to do, something that was a physical practice, but I also knew that people were so stressed out.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of chaos.
So
out there.
it was your way of getting some purpose and helping people.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. That makes all the sense in the world. So you're in this little spot, and then
Yep.
what happens next?
And I run out of space, and so I end up moving not very far from there. Still, I'm in Flushing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I could probably put 30 people, maybe in that space.
And how soon did that fill up?
Well, I was there for 11 years.
Wow.
But I felt like it was just kind of stagnant at some point. Like I need to make a change.
All right.
So that's when I moved over to Linden Road, and I was right next to Sagano. So it was a bigger space.
Okay.
And then that's when the business really started to grow.
All right, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's too much jumping there. All right.
Yeah.
So you're in Flushing for 11 years,
Yeah.
you said. And did you pack it? You said 30 people. Were you packing that?
Yeah,
out?
I could. Yeah, it was pretty full.
Okay. And then during that time period, like what's happening with your private life? What's going on there? So you're married now?
I'm married. Married, got kids. My kids are in high school. Kids graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're off, and you're doing this.
Yep.
And your husband's doing what?
Okay, so my husband then at that time was going to school down in Troy at the ITT Tech Institute to get his license because he repaired helicopters
Wow.
in the air, in his
Yeah.
profession.
Yeah,
And so he wanted to get his license and then ended up, that's what he does. He works on
Helicopters.
aircraft, any kind of aircraft, but then that job just took him out of state because
Yeah.
that's not here.
Yeah. No, he's an aircraft mechanic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they would design interior of aircraft, special aircraft, like planes that would come in from Dubai or
Wow.
Yeah.
Like specialty items.
Yeah.
Wow, he's one of them high-end
China.
guys.
Yeah,
China.
they would just do the interiors,
China.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they look like homes inside these aircraft.
No kidding.
Yeah, so he did that for like 18 years, and then it's like, okay, that's enough.
All
We,
right,
we
well-
always travel back and forth.
All right, let's not get the timelines separated. So we're
Okay.
here. So you're like in your that 11-year time period. So that started in the 2000, 2001 to like 2010.
Yep, 2011, I moved over.
Okay, so you said stagnant. What did that mean?
I just didn't feel like we were going anywhere. It was like
you're maintaining, but you're
Yep.
not growing. But then you wanted to grow.
Absolutely.
All right. In this time period, did you learn how to like run a business? Did you take classes? Like what was that process?
Well, I learned as I went along. So when I first opened up the studio, I was still waiting tables
Wow.
because that's how
That's how you made your money.
I didn't borrow a dime from anybody to open my business. I didn't borrow a dime from the bank.
So you were a really good saver.
Very good.
Wow.
So I worked and I saved, and whatever I had extra went into the business. Whatever was extra goes back into the business.
Gotcha.
And that's how that grew.
All right. So
I didn't even have a credit card machine for 5 years.
wow.
I did. Everybody paid cash or check. That's how, and I only had a check bounce twice, and it was the same guy, and he was my neighbor.
So you knew where he lived.
I knew where he lived.
There
Like,
you go.
stop bouncing checks on me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're doing this. So you want the business to grow, and you know it can grow. So then you get a bigger place. Now how many? And this is 2010.
This is like, I think it was December of 2011.
Okay.
I opened.
And this puts you in your mid to late 40s.
Could be.
And I was going to
Because we're gonna start age telling.
I'm sitting there looking at this. And I'm like, wow, she looks like she's in her mid to late 40s. So like,
You think I look like I'm in my?
yeah, for
Really?
sure. Yeah, absolutely, without question. So that's why I'm like, uh-oh. Now the math is like, uh-oh. So everything moving forward will be mid to late 40s, no matter what the time frame is.
Exactly.
All right. So how many people could you hold at this place?
So this other place, I actually maxed out at 52.
Okay.
And I had turned people away at the door. I honestly
kidding.
could not put them in.
And how many classes are you doing a day? 2 a day? 3 a day?
Now we're at like 3 a day.
Wow. And you're doing all of them?
7 days a week. No, most of them. So when you do the teacher training programs, this is when you can start to get these teachers to come in and help teach some of these classes, because you don't want to teach everything.
Yeah, right.
I don't want
I got to imagine three hot classes a day. You'd be gassed
It's
by the.
so good.
I'm not sure good's the word.
Yeah, it is.
Tired. I dehydrated.
Yeah.
You're like Gumby. You're just so stretchy. It's unbelievable.
Well, the hotter you get, the better you stretch.
The hotter you get, the better you stretch.
Yeah.
That is such a great line. We got to use that line. The hotter you get, the better you stretch. I'm going to tell my wife that. The hotter I get, the more I stretch.
There, she'll like it.
She will probably like it. Oh, man. What a perfect place to take a break. If you've not gone to SamadhiYogaCenter.com, please go and check that out and see what she's talking about, the hot yoga. If you've not gone to Spiritual Warfare Unit on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you let your friends know how you can help people and how they can help people. And if you are struggling, you know someone that's struggling, please go to spiritualwarfareunit.com, click on struggling, look at some of our friends in the area, and they can help you out for free. With that, we'll be right back.
I'm really impressed with the teachings that Isaac has been bringing to us, as this is all based from Proverbs.
I like it because it's simple, and it doesn't matter who you are. It's very easy to understand and apply to your life.
You know, it points out, you know, my bad parts, and you know, but it's showing me how to do the good parts, and you know, I'm trying to apply that and you know, make a better life for myself, because I'm tired of where I've been.
It's impacted a lot of the guys as they continue to talk and ask questions after the meetings, as they speak to one another regarding the meeting and the messages and the topics that are being brought up, which are down-to-earth topics of situations and things that we live with on a day-to-day basis.
He takes the Bible and he breaks it down into simple terms and where you can understand. And like I said before, sometimes a lot of churches, even the Salvation Army, sometimes we start using these big words that people don't understand, like even saying someone got saved. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean when you say someone got saved? And it's accepting Jesus into your heart. So it's like words like that we use that people don't understand.
It's just very interesting how he points out, you know, the different things of, you know, the sin part, and then he comes back with the, you know, how to make it better, and he just points it out. It's there. You know, I didn't know all this stuff was in there, but now that he's pointing it out, it's like, wow, you know, I guess if you really dig into the Bible, you find these things.
This is a daily moral standards that we can live by, that the teachings are coming from. And honestly, we can take verse by verse as what he's done, and pretty much he's done the hard work for us, and now laying it out so that we have an easier understanding.
There's some people who don't like to be in Bible classes, but this one seems to get their attention.
So much. All right, welcome back to the Warrior's Way. Our warrior this week is Denise Alick. She's just regaling some great stories, and I can't tell you. And so, welcome back.
Leave that one alone.
And she's from the Samadhi Yoga Center. Her website is samadhiyogacenter.com. It's a hot yoga. And you were just talking about how you would move to Linden Road,
Yes.
which is a larger
Yeah.
area, and you could hold 30.
That place, I actually maxed out at 52 people.
52
And
people,
I had,
that's right. Now, you had
Yeah.
3 classes a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
And out of those 21 classes, how many did you instruct?
Probably 15 of them.
Wow.
So it was a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
'Cause
had
then
some
you're still-
teachers would come in, but they had other jobs.
Yeah, but you're still managing like the whole rest of this, everything. You're doing this by yourself?
100% by myself.
Wow.
I didn't have a manager. I never have had a manager. I don't have a cleaning crew. I do it myself.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so this is like long hours and
24/7.
wow.
Because then when you're not teaching, you're trying to think of something intelligent to talk about the next time that you go in and you got to teach a class and you got to put these flows together, right? So people
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah.
Hope they like
So
them.
you have to come up with, man, I didn't even think about this. You have to come up with conversation pieces to talk
Yeah.
about while people are stretching
Right.
and being gassy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be a tough conversation.
And I have to
And you
stay
can't make them
focused.
laugh too much either.
No. No. Well, sometimes we do. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
Kinda
Like if
get
you
a
got a
grin out of
person
everybody.
snoring, we're going to get to that. But
yeah. Yeah.
person
You
snoring
just
on
kick them a little bit.
You kick them. Oh, that's the yoga.
Yeah.
Nudge.
Kick them in. Namaste.
Morning.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Dude, how tired you got to be where you pass out. All
Yeah.
right. So, all right. So this is, where are we at now? We're in the 2010s range?
Yeah, so I'm teaching a bunch of the classes and got some other teachers coming in, but I have teachers that are hairdressers and they're doing hair 7 days a week. So,
Right.
they love the practice too.
Okay.
And then they take the course and they can teach a class here or there.
Yeah.
Or.
So what's the price range at this time? Like what's it cost for a class or whatever?
Okay, so I always do a 2-month unlimited. It's $89.
2 months for
$89. Unlimited, they can come in.
Wow. So they come 7 days a week, which
If
I
they
would
want
not.
to.
I'd be exhausted and do it twice.
Yeah.
I know I would.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to have some ice cream. I
Oh
would.
my gosh.
I would.
Yeah, you could have a vegan ice cream.
I wouldn't do that.
My husband wouldn't either.
That's
He said
because
it's not even ice cream.
I don't even know the guy, and we got so much in common already.
Right?
All right, so
Yeah.
so you're doing this, and that's not that bad. Of course, that was 2010. So
But it still is that.
Oh, that's still
I
what it is.
still offer that package.
now, are you in like the Flint area? Are you in Detroit area? Both?
No, I just have my studio in the Flint area.
Okay.
But I drive down there to do my practice because I like to get out of my own space to go practice. I want somebody else to tell me what to do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So how long did you stay at that location that you're at next to Sagano's there?
I
still-
just ended up moving just in December of this year because of COVID.
Okay, so when we were talking originally, the whole reason that you want to do this was to help people, right?
Yes.
Now, so
Yes.
how did this transform from just being a business to the reasons why? Like, what was the process there? Like, how
What?
did you and Bob? How did all that happen?
So it's just meeting people that come in there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people just share their stories. Or I always like to ask people, like, how did you hear about us? Mm-hmm. Because you can advertise in newspapers. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's always word of mouth.
right.
It's word of mouth, or the friend tells the friend, or we have doctors that come in.
Mm-hmm.
We have physical therapists that come in. Then they tell their patients to come in.
Wow,
Yeah. So
that's cool.
yeah, so people come in, it's like, I enjoy everybody who comes into the studio, and I'm very grateful for everybody because it keeps the doors open. But then you get this handful of people that you can just really resonate with that come
Yeah.
in, that you just kind of click with and you stay in contact with all the time.
Right. Absolutely. There's people that you know, and then there's people that you enjoy to know, right?
Exactly. Or people that can relate to your story, that you know that
Absolutely.
you can help them.
All right, so the struggles that you're going, there's any of the, like, from 2010 on, was there any, like, major struggles that you were dealing with during that time as your yoga classes?
Yeah, so in 2008, my daughter passed away, and she had a child. She had just a little baby. She had Memphis. And so
I'm sorry,
that-
how old was she?
she was 20.
Wow.
Yeah. And
What happened?
Just got in with the wrong group of people and just
Yeah.
started making some really bad choices.
Yep. So
So
fairly normal thing.
yeah, and
So you said there was a baby.
she had a baby, but I was still teaching class. I was still at the other location in Flushing at the time,
Okay.
and I had still a business to run.
Right. So
And I
so what
still-
happened? She had the baby, which
Yep.
the name is
Memphis.
Memphis.
But
Boy-
they were
boy or girl?
Boy.
Boy,
So
okay.
they were with me anyway. So
Okay.
we kind of always had him.
So you
with
you
us.
took them.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
So you're doing the business. So hold on. You're at the Flushing location, and then you're doing all this work, which you said three classes a day, 5 days
Yeah.
a week, and then you took out a baby,
And
which happens to be your grandson.
yes, and I didn't start my business when my kids were babies.
Yeah,
I
no,
started them
you
when
were-
they were older.
Yeah.
So it was different doing it then.
How did that
It was-
work?
Grace of God.
You just do it, right?
You have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to move forward. And after she passed, I literally took off 2 weeks' work. That was
it?
I took off 2 weeks. And I remember specifically one day I told myself, if you don't get back in there, and if you don't start teaching,
Yeah.
you're going to quit your business.
Wow.
And I didn't want to do that.
You knew that.
I knew 100%.
So
I
those-
went back to teaching after 2 weeks.
So those group of friends that you had in the yoga, I'm assuming those people were there for you, yeah?
Absolutely.
Man, that has
I
to
had
be
a group,
nice.
I had a community of people that, they stayed, the business stayed open during those 2 weeks. I had other teachers at the time who
Yeah.
were teaching classes for me. People still came in. I had I had some family, and I had, a great group of friends that, helped take care of Memphis
Yeah.
during that time. And,
So how did you deal with the grief process? Like, how did you get through that?
I think the first couple of years was kind of like a blur.
Because you just kept busy.
Really. I had to.
Yeah.
Because my whole mental process is you have to push through.
Yeah.
Always. You just have to keep going. And I felt like if I stopped, my ship would sink.
Right.
So
Probably truth to that.
I did, yeah. And I think my grieving process, and everybody grieves
Differently.
differently,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think mine probably just the ugly part of it dragged out longer because my focus was on Memphis and my focus was on my studio.
So you put yourself last.
Yeah, I did.
And you finally
I did.
got to yourself after a couple years.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Yeah.
Man. And that's just a dark time to go through. But
Yeah.
then at the same time, you got this wonderful little personality.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it had to be, while it was frustrating, still
he
this
is-
blessing.
What a blessing. And he's
Yeah.
15 now.
Okay,
He
don't
just
you
turned
jump?
15.
You
I
jumped.
know.
So,
Right.
all right. So he's 1, 2. You're dealing with. You're still dealing with the death of your daughter, but you have her personality and him, which you get to still see and grow and
Yeah.
and help with. So what was he like as a young little kid?
He was great.
Was he
he
like
was just
lots of energy or relaxed, or is he? Do you have
Well,
blonde hair?
he-
Like, what did he
blonde,
look like?
long blonde
Long
hair.
blonde hair.
Long blonde hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was just
And
all
I just-
energy.
All energy. All boy. All boy. Just
Yeah.
played outside, dig holes, get in the mud.
So how did you do this? Like your husband, you said, was doing like
Yeah, he
fixing
was
helicopters
gone.
and
He was
so,
gone. He
yeah.
was completely out. He
So-
was out of state.
Where's your son at this point?
Well, my oldest son at this point, he's
Yeah.
in Chicago and he gets married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
My oldest son is 40.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah. Right. Yoga must work.
It's
That's
the
all I'm
yoga.
saying.
It works.
Yeah. Apparently, I need to do some odd yoga. 'Cause, whew. All right. So, so you're alone with this. So how in the world did your friend just came in there with you and you guys just
Yeah.
pulled it out?
Yep. I had friends and I had my aunt and You know, they like,
Would you say that like the yoga community is a tight community?
yes.
All right.
Yes.
Like, because I have no idea, and so like, give me an example of what you're talking about, so we can understand what you mean. Like you called them, like you said, you took 2 weeks off. Were they the ones that helped with all the stuff? Because you're by yourself. You're married, but you're by yourself. You
Yeah.
have kids, but you're by yourself.
I'm by myself.
You're doing a business, but you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Is that the way you like it?
Yeah. No, it sucks.
It does suck.
It's
like,
awful.
well, I don't know. I mean,
It's awful, but you learn to adapt.
yeah.
You learn to adapt and you learn to make it work. And then it, then it just got to a point, and like, my husband's name is Mike, like, you need to just come home.
Right.
So he's home.
So would you say that the yoga helped you with your depression and your stress of the situation? Like when you were able to go unload, was that part of your process?
Yeah, because there's a part of the yoga practice that always starts out that it's physical.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a part of your practice, it's a lot mental. And a lot of people that go into the studio, they come in, whether they're stressed or there's depression or there's anxiety or there's drug abuse or alcoholism or physical abuse in the home. That's one space that they have to go to. That's a safe space. And I've always wanted to create a safe space for people to come to where nobody's being judged for why are you here?
Now, in these people that are here for the individual, do they end up, I'm assuming they end up and come and talk to you about why they're there, right?
A lot of them do.
All right. And so do you deal with a lot of addiction-based yoga? Really?
Yeah. A lot of people come in that are in recovery.
Really? And what is their reason for being there? Like,
Theirs is more mental
Spiritual.
and trying to find, and then trying to find some coping skills.
so replacing a bad habit with a good habit.
Yeah.
All right, man, that's a perfect spot to take a break. If you've not gone to SamadhiYogaCenter.com, you're not listening. Got to check it out. It's hot yoga. If you've not seen Spiritual Warfare Unit, like, share, and subscribe. We will be right back.
I was an addict for 6 years. I was deeply into heroin and addiction. 2014, a lot of events happened for me. I had lost my sister. My dad was just diagnosed with cancer. I was just kind of in this headspace of being in a mess as it was, and then I was introduced to heroin. I kept it pretty well hidden there in the beginning. A lot of people didn't know that I was using just because I went about my everyday life the same way anybody else would. But what they didn't know behind the scenes is I was using 10 times a day. I'm living out of what I consider a trap house at this point. There's no windows, there's no doors, there's no place to stay warm. I had no other way of making money. I was doing things that weren't okay to me. I started prostituting. I was stealing from my loved ones. I was taking my dad's cancer prescriptions, and I would take them and I would sell them. I couldn't even contact my daughter in December of that year to tell her Merry Christmas or send her gifts. And it just got to a point where I knew, like, I'm either going to get clean or I might as well start planning my own funeral. So for me, it wasn't even just that I needed to stop. My life over the course of 6 years fell apart.
So I met Sarah in 2019. We had a program I was working with law enforcement officers, and I got the call that they had somebody, so there I went to meet Sarah.
Here's just this happy-go-lucky guy just, oh my God, here's treatment. Here's what you can do. You can change your life around. I'm just kind of sitting there like, oh, okay, what did I get myself into? Like, maybe sitting in a cell by myself might have been a better idea, because at least I don't have to listen to all this.
Whenever I see somebody who's willing to go to treatment to try and help with their issue, it's something that I don't make that judgment. I always just try and provide the hope, the encouragement, and the motivation to go to treatment, and then hope that it works for them, hope they engage, hope that it's the point of life that they're in, that they're ready to make that change.
It was a huge wake-up call for me when I'm watching all these people that I used to hang out with, including my husband, get clean before I did. And just watching their lives change so drastically and them becoming so much happier. And I just sat there in this endless abyss of a mess that I caused myself, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to stay clean. I didn't know how to live my life without substances because I had done it for so long.
With UCAN and our relationships we can actually get people into multiple treatment facilities. So depending on age, gender, the drug of choice, things of that nature, there's certain facilities that maybe have a little bit more of a success rate with certain populations. So we kind of talk through that and then try and place them where we feel is an optimal place to succeed.
My husband and I finally got a place together, and life has pretty much been good ever since. But like the key role of it for me was staying in contact with people.
We can't go in and drive in and grab somebody, just pull them out like they're drowning. It's a decision they have to make, and it's a commitment they have to make, and then they have to be diligent, determined, dedicated to find sobriety.
So my husband has 2 years clean, and I have 22 months clean. I will have 2 years clean on December 21st of this year. Just last month in October, we went back to court. Everything's officially terminated. She's back home with us for good.
Yeah, so UCAN is that conduit. A lot of times people don't know when to or how to or where to go to start looking for services. So we try and promote UCAN as being the starting point for people to begin the road to navigating recovery.
It is more than possible to change your life around.
So this program that we have allows law enforcement that if they have somebody that they feel could use the opportunity to try and get treatment instead of incarceration, that they would reach out and we could handle it for them.
Recovery is possible, and there is hope.
All right, welcome back to the Warriors Way. Our warrior this week is Denise Alick, and we always have our gem session where we get into some funny stories, and I ask our stars for some stories. So you said you had a couple of things you were thinking about.
Yeah, well, one was the competitive one, with my
With your husband?
Yeah,
That poor
riding
fella.
a bike in his slippers because nobody does that ever.
Wow.
And in Flushing, everybody can see everything, so that's awful. But no, so my one story is when you put a class together, in a way that it sequences. Posture should flow. So it feels right when you're starting to open joints, stretch your muscles, start stretching ligaments, detox organs, spinal twists, whatnot. So,
wow.
And all of that, you have to remember that.
Yeah.
That sequence for an hour. So whatever you do on one side, you repeat it on the opposite side and you teach it.
Okay.
So, but where I come from on my end is I'm really bad with direction. So I'm shocked at half the time. I remember the sequencing of flows, but it kind of gets embedded with you. So
Yeah.
when it comes to direction with me, I have a friend that our kids were little at the time, and we're driving and we're going to go to IKEA, right?
Okay.
And IKEA is in what, Canton?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah,
That where
down
it's at?
there, Novi-ish area.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't take that long to get there.
No.
Not really.
Yeah.
Well, we had to drive 2 cars because we all had kids. Our kids are in car seats, and
And this is pre GPS.
well, no, there is a GPS involved that we apparently can't follow either.
Okay.
I've gotten lost many times with the GPS, but I didn't have OnStar. I like OnStar better, but anyways, so we have this GPS and we're going, and it's like, why aren't we in Canton? Like we're just like we've been driving for like 2 hours.
Wow.
And we just we'd get turned around, we'd reset the GPS, like, this can't be that hard to get there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple more hours that go by. It's like, I don't even want to go to IKEA anymore.
Right.
And it's like, why is this, where are we? And we were at the bridge to Canada. I'm not kidding. We drove that far out of the way. So, it was pretty bad. So when I go to teach my classes, like, and people say, well, how do you remember that stuff? Like, I don't know.
I think the repetition for decades, you would think it would be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gets embedded in you.
Yeah.
But my sense of direction and how I can teach in a yoga studio is.
All right. So how
Yeah.
did you get involved with like drug rehabilitation and alcohol rehabilitation and yoga? Like, how did that happen?
Well, that just kind of happened with the people that, that were coming in. I originally, when I first started teaching, I wanted to teach in prisons.
Okay.
I just had this desire, like, could I do that?
Yeah.
Well, I ended up meeting this one guy, and I remember his name was Mike, and he was a prison guard in Standish at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking, like, how can I get in? He goes, you can't.
Yeah.
He goes, I can't put you in there.
Yeah.
He said, but if you teach me, I'll take it back to the prisons.
Yeah.
And I'll teach.
Right.
So he was actually one that would come to my home and then was doing the Ashtanga practice. And it's not just like the Ashtanga practice or the hot. Like we have a slow flow class that we teach.
Slow flow?
It's called slow flow.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that it's easy, but it's a great beginner's point. So people can come in and they're not going to feel like, they're at boot camp. It's
Because that's what the other one feels like.
Yeah, but you don't beat yourself up with yoga. But you can challenge yourself.
It sounds like you get beat up. It's hot.
It's hot.
You're gassy.
You get
You're
challenged.
stretching.
Yep.
It's so bad. People are falling asleep in the middle of it.
So rejuvenating. Like you feel so good.
Yeah.
When you're done. Like you're surprised at what your body can actually do.
Really.
The physical. And then you take that time and just try to let your mind quiet down from just all of the busyness. And I think that's not just with the addiction, but anybody who's coming in. Like that's hard. Like nobody wants to sit and have their mind be quiet.
Yeah,
They don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love for my mind to be quiet. Mine just goes.
Yeah, it's busy. Our mind is just always busy.
Yeah,
And they think because, you're going to sit and you're going to be quiet for a little bit, like your mind that's when it's the busiest. But that's not true. Your mind is always busy.
Yeah.
You're just going to get to see how busy it is.
Wow.
Now, how can we just quiet some of the unnecessary?
Now, what do you mean you're going to see how busy it is?
You do, because your mind is constantly racing.
Yeah.
People don't. It's really hard to focus on being present unless you intentionally make yourself just be present. You don't have to think about your past, and you're trying not to think like these are all the to-do things I have to do when I get out of here.
Yeah.
Just give yourself an hour to work on yourself.
Oh, I got you. In the moment of what you're doing.
Yeah.
See, where I'm trying to get to is, so you had people come in that were struggling with alcohol and drug addiction, and they used the yoga as a replacement for like a good habit to remove the old habit. Is that your understanding?
Well, they use it as, one, it's a physical. Two, it's a way to process your thoughts differently.
Okay. Give me an example of what you mean. Process your thoughts different.
If you're sitting, for example, if you're sitting in a yoga posture, in any pose. So I always tell the students, there's always a way that you can adjust. You can adjust posture so that it fits. So if you got knee issues, certain postures don't work for you, there's a way that you can adjust. So yoga's always the art of adjusting.
Okay.
But life is always the art of adjusting.
Okay.
So when you go out to life isn't always the way we plan it. It's not on our to-do list. My life isn't the way I planned it. Things come up. You have to learn, how can I adjust in a very natural and more of a healthy way instead of, I don't have to medicate. I don't have to numb myself, because everybody numbs up.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to feel, or they don't want to think like that.
Yeah.
So they numb it up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're looking for peace, but they settle kind of for numb, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so when you're
It doesn't work.
Yeah, no, if it
Doesn't
works,
work
then
at all. Yeah.
and all that stuff too.
Right.
So your process of doing that, you said you moved so from 2010 to 2020, 21?
Yeah, so 2011, I think we moved out of we moved over to the Linden Road, and we were there until just December. We ended
so
up moving.
until 2020. End of 2020.
Yeah, because of COVID, so everything got shut down.
So end of 2021.
Yeah, and then everybody's running.
So how did you make it through COVID? Like, how did that happen?
I taught it on Zoom.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now, is that part of your business model now, or
No.
no? You don't
Not
like that
at
one?
all. I didn't. No, I didn't even know how to do Zoom. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
I only thought we were going to do it for a couple of weeks. That was supposed to be our initial shutdown, and then it lasted like 100 years. It seemed like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was getting up on the end of my lease. I didn't want to do Zoom anymore because I needed the people to come into the studio.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody's business is just so many of them just shut down. Mine
Yeah.
just plummeted.
Yeah, but how
For
did you
sure.
survive, though? You
Through
survived
Zoom,
it.
I just did. I
Okay.
still had, I had some people still coming in, and
So that core group of people that help you from the beginning, the people that help you with situation with your daughter and your grandson, and were there through all that same group of people.
yeah, there's a lot of them. They're still there.
Really?
They're still there. And then you get the new people, and they really, really like it, and they stay. And then some people don't really like it so much, or people are like, you know what? I'm going through divorce. I don't have the money. I have to move.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors at play in why people don't come back in, and then there's a lot of it they don't come back in, and you never know why they don't come back in.
Yeah. So you go through COVID, you use Zoom like everybody did,
Right.
and you survive the process. And so then the lease is up.
Yeah, the lease. I actually asked them, I'm like, can I just get out of it?
Yeah.
Like, it's coming up, just let me out.
Yeah.
And one of the girls that, she'd been coming to the studio for years,
Yeah.
works over at Somerset Salon on Miller Road, where we're
Yeah.
at right now. And she's like, hey, there's a space in the back
Wait,
of
you're at the
Somerset.
salon?
I'm inside of Somerset Salon now.
Yeah.
On
Isn't
Miller
that the
Road.
place that you can get a glass of wine and get your hair done?
Yeah,
That's the place?
yeah. But I wouldn't suggest get a glass of wine and come to
And
yoga.
do
So
yoga?
this is
Especially
where,
hot yoga.
Yeah, no. Well, this is where a lot of, I stay away from those. Like, people say, hey, do you want to do yoga and wine? Like, no, I got too many people in recovery. I don't.
Yeah.
I stay away from all of that. I just don't bring it in.
So,
I don't bring it
so
into it.
if I'm to understand the process, you're working with people who are actively in addiction recovery, and you're trying to give them a positive outlet of a mental and physical response to something that they did negatively. So you're trying to offer a positive to input into their life instead of the negative that they had. Is that basically correct?
Correct.
And this is for anyone who's struggling with any kind of addiction.
Anything.
Really?
Or, just people with, everybody has anxiety
Okay.
to some level.
All right.
And for a lot of people, they say, this is my 1 hour that I can actually come in, and I'm not worried about the kids. I don't have
Yeah.
to worry about making dinner. I don't have to run. I can just do that.
So
one
this is
thing.
an hour that you offer to people to invest in themselves and something positive for them.
100%.
All right. That actually, I fenced.
You're sitting
this.
on the fence?
Yeah, and
That's
as
good.
a
I got
chubby
you up
person,
there.
like
That's good.
Yeah, that's hard for me to admit that I'm on the fence with this.
Yeah.
But okay, so real quick, you were talking about a teacher training center program that you had
Yes.
just finished or something. What was that?
I just finished one. I just had 5 students just finished through a teacher training program.
What is
3
that?
months. So it's a program where it's set where you got 200 hours you're going to put into. It's an intensive. You're practicing every day. You're being taught anatomy. One of my teachers, Heather, she teaches the anatomy part of the program.
Okay.
I have Dr. Neelam Dutt. She's an Indian doctor, and she comes in and she teaches the science of the diaphragm and
Wow.
breathing. So it's a really great program. A lot of people come into the program, they want to do the teacher training, not so much that they have a desire to teach, but they want to learn more about
Yeah.
the practice and how they can, do more for their own practice.
And how many times a year do you do this training?
Since I've been here at Somerset, this is the second time I'm putting one together. It's going to start August 20th. It's on a Saturday.
And if someone want to see it, they go to samadhiyogacenter.com
Yep.
and they can just sign up there.
They just call me. They can come
Okay.
to the studio. We can sign up over the phone. We got.
And you said it's still unlimited for $89 a month or 2 months.
Well, that's just how they start. When they're done with their 2 months, there's other packages that they have
Oh,
to
I
go
gotcha.
to. Yeah.
But the
So-
startup selling 90, that's not so bad.
It's not bad.
That's
So-
like one tank of gas. $90, right? It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Well, I have to tell you, Denise, I am so glad that you came on. I really look forward to people trying this out.
Thank you
Gee,
inviting
Thank
me.
you so much for coming on. What
Thank
a
you.
great story. What a fighter. I feel bad for your husband with the competition. but
yeah.
it's all right. He's a military guy.
He'll
He
be
can
all
handle
right.
it. He'll be all
He'll be
right.
all right.
All right, if you're not gone to SamadhiYogaCenter.com, our time is up. You have to check it out on the internet. Thank you for coming out to Spiritual Warfare Unit. Please check out spiritualwarfareunit.com. You guys have a great day. We will see you next week. Do you have a nonprofit in your area that's doing a lot of work that people should know about? Feel free to contact Spiritual Warfare Unit at 810-715-9319, and we would love to have them on to see what good they're doing in the community and find out their story. Thank you so much.
Spent so much time believing the lies. I knew I wasn't meant to live this way. But my walls came down when your love shone through. Now my life will never be the same. You love me too much to let me stay this way.